Ayla, what's gene editing?
So gene editing is a type of genetic engineering where a scientist alters the gene.
Did you know that gene editing has been around since 1960s? And also that gene editing has been a hot issue in the science fiction genre, but as of late being 2013, has become a reality when the first human embryo was genetically edited using CRISPR.
So explain CRISPR to me.
So for genes to be edited, you need a molecular scissors, which needs a site-specific identifier, which causes a site-specific double-strand break in the DNA.
So it's like cutting.
Exactly, it's exactly cutting. And what has been used now has been CRISPR, which is the most effective, the most efficient, and the least expensive of all the other molecular scissors ever. The next step is to break the cutting action of CRISPR, which allows for both activation and suppression of the genes.
So doesn't this raise a lot of ethical issues? Because if it's cheap and it's specific and it's relatively easy, I feel as though if it was unregulated, anybody could just do it.
Probably.
So I think the main ethical issues that come from here are probably that, well, I suppose there are liberal and there are conservative views. So the liberal view would be that this could potentially be used for enhancement, which could lead to the next step in human evolution, as the sci-fi people would say. Then there's the conservative view, in which they postulate that it shouldn't be used at all. The problem with this view is that if it's not used at all, it's not regulated, and that doesn't mean that it isn't going to be used. It simply means that it would be illegal to use it. Also, once you've created a genetically modified human being, that human being would have the same rights to life as the rest of us, which means that we could not ever go back from having created a genetically modified human being. So with the greater specificity of CRISPR, it is important because we can now use it to make genetically modified animal models in which we can create human pathologies and create better treatments for these human pathologies. What this does mean though is that as yet we have no way of transmitting this technique into a live, already developed animal or mammal for that matter, and therefore we cannot use it as a therapy as yet. It is still largely research associated. So recognizing the importance that these techniques could have to the future of human treatment, we must allow research. Well, on this point, we do not know what the proposed side effects could be, and there aren't really many ways of knowing. At this stage, we aren't sure whether these techniques will ever reach human trials.
They created the guidelines which stated that although research should go ahead in the field of gene editing, editing in humans is only for basic and preclinical research. The second guideline is that clinical trials and research in somatic cells which do not alter germlines and are not vertically transmissible should be allowed once appropriate research protocols have been followed, including ethical approval and safety.
This ties into the third point, which is that germline editing is irresponsible before safety has been established. And at this stage, establishing safety is a prediction and therefore may clinically yield different results, at which time it will be too late to reverse the genetic modification of the human race. Lastly, the feel is that collaboration, harmonizing regulation, and discouraging unacceptable activities is paramount to governing this technology.